Hi there, it's Sale-A-Bration Designs here. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. I'm back with my final tutorial featuring the Sale-A-Bration Rewards, and I've returned once again to one of the papers. I've said many times since Sale-A-Bration began that the various papers that are available as rewards are absolutely fabulous, and it's very difficult to choose which one I like the best, but I've gone back to the Paper Blooms design series paper. I really have enjoyed using that, so I thought let's finish with it. If you haven't seen the paper before, I'm sure I have shared it on another tutorial, but in case you have no idea what I'm talking about and in case you missed that one, then let me just quickly share the various designs with you. So as the title would imply, there are a number of blooms or floral designs. There's also some really nice background papers that you can use, either coordinating with the florals or just using them on their own. So the colours that we actually have within these sets of papers are Night of Navy, Old Olive, Petal Pink, Rococo Rose, Seaside Spray, Soft Sea Foam and Whisper White. Now right at the end we don't have florals, we have these really vibrant circular design here, which is really lovely, and then this nice bold pattern on the back of that particular sheet. Now the paper that I'm actually going to feature today is this one, so I'm going to put that somewhere safe, out of your way, Ollie. He's doing a very good job from up on his vantage point up there, watching what's going on. So I have my usual base card in, this is Whisper White, but Basic White is now our cardstock that is now available in a white version. So that is cut at my normal size of 8 by 6, scored at 4 on the long side, and the equivalent metric for that is 15 by 20, scored at 10 on the long side. Now I'm going to make this particular card in the landscape style. I'm just going to burnish my fold there. Then I have a piece of my design series paper, and that is cut at 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 or 9.5 by 14.5, and that's going to go on the front of my card. I've got a piece of Rococo Rose, which again is cut at 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, 9.5 by 14.5, and that is going inside my card. I've then got a piece of white card which is cut at 5.5 by 3.5 or 14 by 9 centimeters, and that is going to be where my basically where my message is going to go in the card. I've got another piece of Rococo Rose, and I effectively cut that about 3 inches by 5 3/4. That was sort of my starting point. I haven't actually written the metric equivalent down for that, but there will be an accompanying blog post for this card, so I will make sure I add the metric measurements for that. And I then went for about sort of the 2 inch, just over 2 inch mark on that paper, and I've cut that out using one of the Curvy Dies. Specifically I've used this one, and once you've cut it out you may well need just your paper piercer, which I've got the old version, but it comes on the Pick Me tool, or the name escapes me, but the one that has the interchangeable head. Again, I will put that in my blog. There's always something I forget to look up before I come in, but hey, we should be used to that by now. So to make sure I've got the actual design element that I actually want, if you possibly can see, I'm going to just stand up and make sure that this is hopefully getting into the camera. the die, it's just my hand. Where's this? There we go. There we go. So if you can see just along the top here, that is where the actual ridge is that cuts the paper. So if you want the paper to have that design, you need to be laying it down with this cutting edge like so. So when it runs through your die cut machine, it will cut the card, but it will also give you this design. If you don't want any design, you need it to go in the opposite direction, so that when you cut through your paper, you will get the plain side and not the design side. I will try and remember to cut a piece of paper and add that to my blog post, so hopefully that will make a little bit more sense. So that is what I've done with the Rococo rose, and I'm now going to just attach that to the front of my piece of designer series paper. Using my Stampin' Seal. Again, I have said this on several videos, I am getting on really well with our new style of glue. If you find that suddenly the glue here, the tip disappears, just gently run your finger across the top and you will then get the next part of the glue will just feed through. So making sure I've got my flowers, I want them obviously going in the right direction for my card. So I'm just going to line up the edge there. Need a little bit more glue down here. So that's the first bit, and we can now put that onto the front. So apart from the die cutting, it's a very simple card, and you could obviously achieve the same effect by, rather than having a wavy design, you could just put a piece of Rococo rose, just the card just cut straight across. It would have the same effect. I'm just going to centralise that on the front of my card. Then if we move into the inside, we can put the piece of the Rococo rose card, which is going to be my base layer, inside the actual card. I thought it was nice to actually celebrate this colour because it's one of the 2019 to 2021 colours, so we'll be saying goodbye to it very soon. And I have to say it was one of my favourites out of that particular set of in colours, and I used it a lot when we first had it, but I've kind of got distracted with the new colours this year, so it's quite nice to revisit it and give it a good send-off. It's still with us for a couple of months, but the way time flies, it was very nice to just let it shine for a moment. I'm not going to do any stamping inside the card. I'm going to just pretty up the inside using a strip of the designer series paper. I'm just trying to keep this really simple, and I've cut that at 1/2 inch by 6. I've gone a bit over the top here because this is cut at 5.5, but again that's about 1.5 centimetres, but I'm not quite sure how long this bit is. Probably 20 centimetres actually, isn't it? Or, yeah, 20 centimetres I think. But again, I will put the proper measurements in my blog post. I'm starting to do accompanying blog posts with the majority of my tutorials, because I'm finding as I'm doing my tutorials, and you know, if you've been with me for a while, you get this totally, that I get myself totally confused and get the measurements wrong. So it's kind of easier if I sit in a quiet room and try and put it all down on the screen. I can always delete and put the right information in. So I'm just putting that at the bottom of my piece of white card. The reason I've cut it that much longer is because if I cut this exactly at 5.5, and I've kind of just gone slightly wrong on this one and it's a little bit over 5.5, I'm going to have this sort of awkward little bit of white card that's showing. By doing this, I can just flip it over and then I can just trim it so that it fits perfectly. As perfect as my cards get, that is. So we can now put that into the inside of the card. So very minimal stamping going on here. I have stamped the sentiment, and I've used the Massive Thanks stamp set, which I absolutely love. Lots of different ways to say thank you in there, but I do particularly like this one because I can just add a little bit of Wink of Stella to brighten that up. So I've stamped that down onto some white card. I've then cut it out with a small plain edged layering oval. You've all seen these before if you've watched my videos. They are my go-to stamp, or sorry, my go-to die set for my sentiments. So I've got a plain one for this one. I've then cut one piece of Night of Navy, so I'm bringing in this colour, and I've used obviously the crinkle edge die for that, and then I've got a larger crinkle edged oval cut out with the Rococo Rose. So I'm actually bringing all those three colours together, and that's going to go on my sentiment. It's going to be my sentiment to go on my card. So there is nothing at all complicated. If you haven't got the die cut machine, you've got some punches, then you can obviously use the punches to add your sentiment to the card. So there's not a lot of room, so I'm just gently putting it down at one end so that I can just make sure that I'm happy with the placement before I give it the final push down. So I've got some blue edge showing all the way around. A little bit more room to play with here, but obviously I'm still trying to centralise it as best as possible. And then I'm just going to use some stamping dimensionals. Which I'm convinced I bought in, which, okay, seriously. I will be back. Now, I'd actually got them out of my little container that I keep them in, but they were still sitting in the other room. Of course they were. I can't get through a video, can I, without it going wrong. It's giving me a lot of practice on my video editor though, so what can I say? Every cloud and all that. So I'll have a look at this, and I think I'm going to go for about there to put my sentiment. I am then going to, of course, add some Wink of Stella. I'm just going to put some on the flowers just to make them stand out. couple of these little dots down here as well, because you can never have too much Wink of Stella. Not in my world anyway. I'm also going to just very, very carefully just touch in the larger or the thicker parts of these letters. So I'm not going over all of it, just the bits that I think I can get the brush in without smudging the ink. It's just that little element of the Wink of Stella, just as it touches the light, or the light catches it rather, it will just give that little bit of shimmer. And as I always say, we all need a bit of shimmer in our lives. Probably not going to show up on camera. I'm going to be a little bit more generous on these flowers. I'm really not sure whether that's showing up or not, but it is on there. And again, I want to make the inside look similar to the outside. So if I've put Wink of Stella on the flowers on the front of the card, then why not put some inside? Has somebody woken you up, Ollie? It's quite hot in here, isn't it? We've got sun today and we're not used to sun. Everywhere's feeling quite spring-like, which is nice, isn't it? So I'm literally, we're almost there. Some kind of record, I think, for me. I'm just going to finish this off using these Pastel Pearls, which are in the Hydrangea suite in the mini catalogue. And actually one of the colours is Rococo Rose, so I thought I would just add some little pearls to the front, just for a little bit of added detail. Now, because I've got this little design here, I'm thinking the pearl would look quite nice just in the centre of each one of those. I haven't tried this before, but actually it looks good, I think, and it's good when a plan works. For every one thing that goes wrong, something's got to go right. This isn't going right, is it? Let's spend the next 10 minutes chasing a pearl round the card. You see, if I had the tool in here that I can't remember the name of, that would probably be able to pick them up a bit better, but there you go. And that is it. So a very simple card, but again, just showcasing this lovely designer series paper that is still available in Sale-A-Bration. Now, I'm filming this on I think it's the 23rd. It's the Wednesday of the week prior to the 28th. So basically where I'm going with this is Sale-A-Bration ends on the 28th of February. So there is literally just a few days left to take advantage of the promotion, and this particular paper is available as a reward if you spend £45 excluding postage and packing. Lots of other rewards which have been really nice rewards in Sale-A-Bration this time. So if you've been meaning to place an order and haven't quite got round to it, please don't leave it too much longer, because after Sunday you will unfortunately be missing out. So I hope you've enjoyed some of the tutorials that where I've shared some of the Sale-A-Bration products with you. I will be back with something totally different next time. As usual, my normal links will be on the front of the video, and as I say, there will be an accompanying blog post with it. And now at the top of my YouTube channel there is a little button for my blog that you can just press and you will be taken to my blog. If you've enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, and if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would really love that as well. I've just thought of something before I'm leaving, and that is I was just going to share an idea for the envelope with you. So we don't like to send blank envelopes, we like pretty envelopes, and so what I'm going to do is just pretty up the envelope using a strip of designer series paper, and I've got enough room over here for the address. I think that probably needs to be cut probably at 1 3/4 inches, so I'm just going to go and do that. Yeah, so I've gone with very slightly over 1.5 inches because I wanted to keep this element of the paper. Again, I'll put the suggested metric measurements on the blog post, and as I did with the inside of the card, I've cut more designer series paper than I actually need as far as the length is concerned. I'm being generous with the glue on the back here because it's obviously got to go through the post. I'm just leaving a little tiny border over here. Make sure I've got my envelope up the right way. It's always a good plan, isn't it? So recently I've just got into, rather than stamping, I've been using some designer series paper, just because it's just something a little bit different, and where I haven't been doing a lot of stamping in the card, then it saves getting another stamp set out, which again seemed like a good plan and a nice way to use up some of my paper. So that's going to be just my envelope, which is marrying in then with the card, and again just to finish it off I can put some Wink of Stella onto the flowers, so it gives the postman something pretty to deliver as well. Here comes the sun, which is lovely, but it's probably going to affect the video, so it's a good job that we're getting to that point where I have finished. So there we have our finished card and our envelope. So as I was saying, all the details will be on the front, plus the blog post, plus my shop, etc. Thank you once again for joining me, and until next time, please look after yourselves, take care, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.